Hey everybody, welcome to Home Recording Made Easy and Plugin Review Friday, where every Friday I show you a new plugin, we walk through its feature set, and I show you how to apply it to a mix so you can make professional sounding mixes in your home studio. Okay, before we get started, if you like what you see in this video, please consider subscribing and make sure you hit that notification bell, and also make sure you stick around till the end of the video because I have a few free gifts I want to give you that is absolutely going to help you make better music in your home studio. So stick around. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Plugin Review Friday. In this Plugin Review Friday, we have a really kind of, again, another cool Abbey Road by Waves plugin. This one is called Vinyl. And this is very, very cool. Now, this plugin's been out for a while. I just picked it up at the Black Friday sales around 2019, depending on when you're watching this video. So I've only had it a few months. And honestly, it's been sitting in my plugin browser for a while because I knew I was going to do this review. And when I first bought it, I only got it for 25 bucks or something during Black Friday. And there's people that have put out videos on this saying, is it snake oil? Is it hype? Is it this? Is it that? And I thought, yeah, it probably is. It's kind of a, kind of a gimmicky plugin. And that's why I never bought it. And then when I saw it for like 25 bucks, I said, let me give it a try. I have all the other Abbey Road plugins, which I love. And I've said that in every review that we've done with the Abbey Road collection. They're all fantastic. I thought this one might be a gimmick, but when I got it for 25 bucks, I said, let me buy it. And I'm glad I did. This is a very cool, again, something that Waves and Abbey Road collection is unique that no one else has done to this degree. This is a very cool plugin that you can use in a very subtle way to do what? To make your recordings sound more like the old vinyl records. Now, for the old folks out there, like me, who remember those big black things called records? A lot of the youngins don't know about that stuff. They have a very special sound to them. It's kind of part of the whole debate and discussion that we've been talking about on this channel for 5 years now around analog style plugins and making your digital recordings sound like they were recorded in an analog studio to kind of achieve that sound, that special sound. Part of that special sound from the 50s to 60s to 70s, the 80s were the sound of the actual vinyl. When you drop that needle on your turntable in your home theater or your home hi-fi system back in the day, part of that sound is not only the console and the plugins and the old analog gear and all that stuff, but tape machines. Also, the sound of the record itself has a unique sound to it, and it's part of that experience. And I would urge anyone that's never, or I wouldn't urge, I would recommend to anyone, if you're younger, a little bit younger generation, less than the age of 30, if you've never listened to an album, a real vinyl record, you really ought to experiment with that. Today, you could pick up a pretty good quality turntable, pretty inexpensive. And there's been a resurgence in vinyl over the last few years, and I have a vinyl collection as well. And I would encourage you to try to find some of maybe your favorite artists that are putting out stuff on vinyl to these days and listen to it on vinyl, just to hear the difference between that and, let's say, an MP3 or something you hear on a smartphone. Oh, so different. Anyway, this plugin replicates or emulates the lathe cutting and record cutting process in Abbey Road Studios. And it's very, very cool. In the mastering process when they're actually cutting the lacquer, very cool. So what I want to do, and what I will say is this is a very in-depth plugin, and we're going to keep this very high level. I would encourage you to not only demo this, and if you could get it for 25 bucks, buy it. Okay. Especially if you're looking for that sound. But read the manual. The manual in and of itself is fantastic the way it's written and gives you the history and the behind the scenes. And the Waves also has done a wonderful job on their website of putting out these little mini documentary videos on YouTube about these plugins and the creation and the history and really, really interesting stuff. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, like most of us mixing geeks are, I really encourage you to go watch those. They're really, really cool. And you could really get a better way down deep understanding of this plugin. There's way too much for me to tell you in this video. What I want to do is I put this on the master bus on a song that's not even mixed, just a static mix, as I like to do with all these plugins, so you really hear what this plugin does. And I just want to show you a very basic high level without having to understand the mastering process, the lathe cutting process, and all of that stuff, just what this can do to your sounds in a very subtle way to give you more of that records feel, okay? And then you could go watch the videos and read the manual and demo it for yourself and tweak around with it. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at the layout here, okay? So the very first button up here, this TG desk, is part of the TG 12410. I had to write it down desk. Again, hand-built, custom-made at Abbey Road Studios. Isn't a desk that you could go, or a piece of gear that you could find in a bunch of studios all over the world, like an SSL console or a Neve console or an API. No, 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 no. These were custom-built in the 50s and 60s by the Abbey Road engineers, the EMI engineers, to make that particular desk. So it's only unique to Abbey Road, which is so cool. And turning this on and off is going to give you kind of that extra coloration and some of the circuitry sound that you would get from that desk in its simplest terms. Next to that, we have the generation. We have the actual lacquer or the print. And you can see as it changes the view here of cutting the lacquer or actually printing the record. It's a little bit different of an EQ shift, and we'll hear that. Then we have a couple of different turntables here, a DJ table, and I don't know what AR stands for. I know it and I forgot, but you have two different types of turntable sounds here as well. Then we have different kinds of cartridges. We have a MM, which is a moving magnet, an MC, and then a DJ cartridge as well. And again, all of these are going to have a different EQ shift. And you can see as I'm clicking on the buttons, the little cartridge, the little needle cartridge for folks that don't know about this stuff, or if you're a little bit younger and you're not into this, that's what that does. And we'll hear that difference. And then next to that, we have the noise, the crackle, and the clicks, which is really like when you drop the needle on the turntable, you hear the little pops and the little clicks that you just don't get in digital files. Really recreates that very, very nicely and very, very realistically. And right now we're in bypass here. If I just turn this plugin out of bypass, listen to the noise level. Okay, you can hear that. And if I turn the noise up or down, at its default setting, it's at 0 dB. But just to exaggerate that. Now, again, you would want to use these settings in a subtle way, but you can go crazy if you want to. But if you're really trying to keep the authenticness of the sound, you want to do this in a very subtle way. You want that stuff to kind of be there in the background in the noise floor, but you don't want to hear that while the music's playing. You wouldn't think. And then you have crackles. You can turn that up or down. Again, that's exaggerated, right? And then you have the clicks and the density of the clicks. I turn that up and turn this up. Oops, here are little pops, little clicks. Get very cool. Very, very cool. This is something that CDs and MP3s and digital files were all created to get rid of all this racket, and now they're building it back into plugins, and it's kind of doing its full life cycle, right? It's coming back around, but very, very cool. Okay, and this is what it was like when you put a record on a turntable. Okay, so and then down here we have an input section over here, okay, to drive the input. And then we have an input section. We could drive it to give us more distortion, if you will. We have a wow and flutter down here that you can use for like a tapey kind of a thing. And we're not going to demo that. You could do that on your own. We have a slow down feature for DJs and stuff. I'll demo that where it kind of slows the record down, like the turntable slows down and starts up. Kind of a cool effect. Something else that's very cool. Over here we have the tone arm, and as we move the tone arm, you can see up in the graphic the needle gets closer to the center of the record. And you may say, why does that matter? Because again, in a very subtle way, and we'll demonstrate this, with the tone arm all the way to the edge of the record, as it gets more towards the center, it tends to get a little warmer. It loses a little bit of its high end, okay? And that is true to real vinyl, and this will give you that ability to kind of emulate some of that. Next to that, we have some phase distortion here, again with a distortion level and some modulation here. Okay, and then we have an output, and we have our meters, our input and our output meters. So the way the manual, let me bypass this for a second if that is annoying you, the way the manual kind of suggests you start with this, and this is how I would recommend, is you're really concerned with the top level controls here to fit the program style of music and what you have going into it. So again, we're doing this on a track that's not even mixed, but you would put this on typically on the last track, or excuse me, the last insert of your master bus is where you would typically put this. Although you can put this on buses if you wanted to put it on drums and bass and such. It takes up about 20% of my CPU, so it is a little bit of a CPU hog. You can use this on buses. You could even use it on an individual track if you want, but I think where it's most realistically would be used would be on a master bus. And then depending on the program material going into it, you could turn on and off the TG desk, change the lacquer from print to lacquer, the generation, change a different type of turntable, the cartridge, to kind of get the EQ and the sound that's kind of pleasant to you. And then you can dial in the amount of noise and crackle and density that you want. That's how they recommend you start with it. And then you can fool around with these other controls and play around with it and dial it into taste. So right now we're in bypass mode. I have this on the master bus. And we're going to go ahead and we're just going to play back some music here, some drums, bass, acoustic guitar, electric guitar, and a little bit of keyboards, piano. Here's what we're kind of dealing with in its rawest form. Right now we're in bypass. Let it loop around again. Now I'm just going to turn the plug-in on here with the noise. It's before, after. So what you hear instantly, as soon as you bring it in, yes, you hear some of the noise when it gets quiet, but you also hear it gets a little bit punchier, gets a little bit warmer sounding. And remember, just like with a tape machine or like with a saturator, this vinyl stuff, it's going to add a little bit of compression, a little bit of low end. It's going to warm things up a little bit. That's what this is going to do for us, okay? Now, let's just start playing with some of the controls. I'll turn the TG desk on and off. We'll change the different generations. We'll change some of these top controls and listen to how the EQ shifts. It gets brighter, it gets darker, it gets warmer, it gets a little more mid-heavy, depending on the combination. Okay, so here we go. So the tone arm doesn't really, it's way subtle. You know, I'm having a hard time even hearing really what it does. Maybe a little bit. And again, we can now adjust our noise. Maybe turn that down a little, maybe a little more crackle, a little more authentic, a little bit more of the clicks maybe. Before. So there you go. So you can hear all the noise there, but bypass this for a minute. It just gets a little warmer, a little more punchy. It gives it that sound. You know, that sound we always say, what does analog sound like? I just got that sound. I don't know what it is, but it just has that vibe, that thing, You know, we always say that because we don't know what to call it. You know, whenever we're talking about all these plugins and stuff, and we've been doing this for years on this channel, channel strips and tape machines and saturators and now vinyl, emulations. You can't put your finger on what it is, but it's that sound. It's that familiarness that you get when you were listening to records. And that's what this does for you. Now, again, you could do some funky things like you could slow down the thing. I'll show you. Really cool. Record slows down. Cool, right? You can even change the length. This is 12. This is in time, but you can do it in bars, and you can say how many bars, 6 bars, how, from the slow down and the ramp back up. Really cool. You could change, you could just double click. You say you want to type this 3 bars, and then you can do it. Let's see. Here we go. Play. There we go. So it slows down a lot faster. Kind of cool if you were doing DJ type thing. I mean, I don't know where I would use something like that, but again, it's a cool thing. And that's what happens. If you have a record on a turntable, you can do that. You can slow it down. You can speed it up. There's a variable speed for DJ turntables and stuff. That's what it would sound like. And so it does really do that. Now, if we drive this a little, I can hear where it gets all distorted. We don't want to do that. So I would do that in a very subtle way. Can I? So again, I would use this in a very subtle way. I would not go real crazy with this, although you can. Again, I think this is another one of those, very unique. Nobody else makes a plugin like this. I'm sure there's probably another company that makes something that's similar, but not like this. Again, I think it's worth the price of admission. Let me just bypass this noise here. The price of admission, just to go watch the little mini documentaries that they do, Waves does on these plugins. The Abbey Road stuff is great, and I say this in every Abbey Road plugin demo video. And no, this is not a sponsored video. They don't even know who I am. I buy these things with my own money. So I'm telling you this as, what I truly feel. They're not paying me to say anything. They don't even know me. I wish they would, but they don't. Anyhow, the Abbey Road collection is a set of plugins, all of them so far that I've done demos on, and they're all in the playlist that's on our channel here. They sound completely different than anything else that's out there. So for example, there's lots of companies that make, emulations of, say, an 1176 compressor or an LA2A compressor. And we've done shootouts of those before. And we've listened to the one from Waves versus the one from Universal Audio versus the one from PreSonus, and which one sounds better. And they all sound slightly different, and they're all going to sound slightly different. But you can buy that plugin from 10 different companies: LA2As, Fairchilds, Pultex, all those. In the Abbey Road collection, where you have things like vinyl, or things like the Saturator, which we've done a review on, or like some of their consoles, the red consoles, the TG1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consoles, you can only get them at Waves. They're not plugins, and no other company has access to those pieces of gear. They're not, an 1176, you can go to any studio in the world and see 10 of them in a studio, right? You can only find one red 17 console. It's only in Abbey Road. And so they're very unique, and they have a very unique sound to them. When you combine a lot of the Abbey Road plugins together in one mix, and we've done this over at mixingmadeeasy.net before, you get a sound on that mix that's different from anything else. Certainly different from stock plugins, that's for sure. So if you're really looking for that real authentic old school sound, and I don't mean old school in a bad way, and now with the release of vinyl, to really make it sound like it does when you were sitting down listening to your favorite records on your turntable, this gets you much, much closer to that feel. And it's not overly hyped. Again, I've never sat in Abbey Road and actually saw this gear, but when you watch the mini documentaries, you know that they've taken a lot of time meticulously emulating this stuff. and it doesn't sound fake to me. It doesn't sound hype to me. It just sounds like a record sounds, and that's what this is. So again, I would encourage you to go over to Waves, demo the plugin. You can demo it for, I think, 7 days or something, like all their plugins. But like I've said in my last Abbey Road plugin demo, you could get these plugins for less than $30 throughout the course of the year. And just like the last week's video where we talked about the saturator, it's a no-brainer. $30, I'd buy this. Even if you didn't use it on every single mix, I would buy this for $30 all day long. And I did. And I think you would the same. You know, this is not a plugin you might use on every mix, but it's a plugin that definitely gives that vibe. I really dig the Abbey Road stuff, as I said. And I would encourage you to check it out. Watch the videos, read the manual. You can really dive down deep and really understand the history and the inner workings of all this stuff. It's an interesting read, and I would encourage you to do that as well. So thank you so much for spending a little time with me and taking a look at vinyl. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to doing more mixing with it. It's a lot of fun. And I appreciate you sticking around till the end of the video. Now, I said I wanted to give you a free gift just for sticking around to the end of the video. So gift number one, if you have not been to homerecordingmadeeasy.com yet, why not? If you're new here, welcome to the Home Recording Made Easy family. Go to homerecordingmadeeasy.com right now, right on the homepage, hit the orange button, get your 5 free mixing training courses. 5 free courses worth a couple of $100 US. It's my way of saying thanks for visiting, and checking out what I have at homerecordingmadeeasy.com. Also, I want to give you a coupon. The coupon code will come up on the screen. The coupon code is YouTube25. YouTube25 will take 25% off any one of the training courses on homerecordingmadeeasy.com. And we have courses around mixing, recording, EQ, compression, mastering, so on and so forth. Go check it out today. Okay, so those are my 2 gifts for you. Now I want to give you something else as well. If you really like mixing and you love digging into these plugins and you like learning about different mixing techniques and how you can apply different plugins to different types of mixes, every month, the really cool thing you can check out is mixingmadeeasy.net. Go check that out. You get a new song to mix every month. We use different plugins every month, different mixing concepts and techniques, so you can build yourself a real killer workflow and start turning out real professional sounding mixes in your studio. And the greatest thing about it, it's not taught at a high level, technical high level. It is really perfect for beginners and intermediate level mixers. So if you're someone mixing your own music in your home studio, mixingmadeeasy.net is perfect for you. And we use these kinds of plugins all the time. Link will be in the description box below. And also, for a limited time, if you want to check out mixingmadeeasy.net, I want to give you 40% off an annual membership. So for less than 50 cents a day, you could be a part of mixingmadeeasy.net for an entire year. 12 mixes, 12 sets of videos. It's awesome. Check out mixingmadeeasy.net. All the links are in the description box below. Now, lastly, I want to know what you think. Let me know what you think about this vinyl plugin. Do you use any of the Abbey Road Waves plugins? And if you do, which ones do you use? What do you like about them? What don't you like about them? Are you someone new to this stuff? Are you going to go check it out after watching this video? Let me know what you think in the description box below. And let me know if there's any other plugins in the description box you'd like me to demo and take a look at, and I might be able to oblige you. So until next week's Plugin Review Friday, I've been Dave with Home Recording Made Easy and mixingmadeeasy.net, and I will see you next Friday. Take care.